Today, I'm going to break down Gary Tonin and Husamar Palhares. Um, Before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and share this stream a couple times. Hope you guys are all doing well this morning. Slept in a little bit. I'm running a little behind. I think I'm just going to call, make sure everybody knows my shit is on jujitsu time. Um, yeah, 1 second here. Not like anybody's watching yet. All right. So today, Tonin versus Palhares. Going to be a good one. First off, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been watching and supporting and all that good stuff. Means a lot. You know, bored out of my mind without the gym, as I know I'm sure a lot of you guys are. Um, so it's nice to have something to get up and provide a little bit of value to the community. Um, so, with that being said, if you want to support me a little bit, you can go check out nogination.com, order some coffee, order some shirts, order some rash guards. Jen, I miss you too. Can't wait to be back in the gym. Um, all that good stuff. Also, if you're in the market for a super cool custom blade, one of my students, Scott, just started making blades. Let me pull up his info real quick and then I'll give you guys where to find it. It's called Kanai Blades. If you go to Scott underscore the hammer on Instagram, you could pre-order some. It's gonna be hard to see on here, but some sick ass blades, all custom handmade, and they're only $50 right now for the pre-order. So if you were ever in the market for a custom blade, go ahead, check that out. Highly recommend it. Scott is a great craftsman, and yeah, overall good dude. So without any further ado, we're going to get into Gary Tonin versus Palhares. So I'm only doing this match today because I want to do the whole thing. This is my favorite match in jiu-jitsu history. When people ask me what's a good match to watch, if I want to show someone how exciting jiu-jitsu can be, this is the match I show, and I tell them to show. Um, Sorry, I'm fucking around here a little bit. First off, big shout out to Polaris in the UK for putting on this event, and then also for putting it out free on YouTube. So if you want to go back and watch it, you just Google it or search it up on YouTube. It is one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life. And before we get into it, I gotta say that Gary Tonin seems to always grapple better when he's grappling bigger people. You know, maybe it's because Gary's always been the underdog and he's more comfortable that way. But I think this is one of the most flawless performances I've seen him do. I mean, when you look at him grappling up, the only time I can think of him losing to a larger grappler, like at least by submission, outside of ADCC, is when Shoeface flying triangled him at submission underground. I mean, he's lost to Buchecha in the absolutes and stuff like that, but that's all on points. He's got wins over Palhares, Gilbert Burns, a lot of really high level competitors who are much heavier than him. So let's get this thing started. Oh, apparently I've been playing it the whole time. Put this up. 1 second. Just got to get my screen up there for you guys. Here we go. Jordan, I totally agree. This is definitely the best match ever. All right, so this was supposed to be at 83 kilos. All right, 88 kilos is 194 pounds. I think this is 185. I have no fucking clue if Palhares actually made this weight. I kind of doubt it. So let's get right into the action. kidding me? All right, here we go. So right away, Gary ends up on Paul Horace's leg. The question in this match was, would Gary try to attack the legs of Paul Horace? And right away, Paul Horace is on a toe hold. Gary's looking for that honey hole position. He gets it tight. Look at how he switches back and forth between multiple legs. We're going to go back and watch the scramble again. I'm not going to stop at every juncture of this match, but this opening sequence is just fucking insane. All right, so let's watch that again. Right away, Gary slides into single leg X. Boom. Right on an outside heel hook. And right away, Paul Horace counters with a toe hold of his own. Gary rolls with it and starts lacing him up for honey hole. Look, Paul Horace is already repummeling his foot. Something I always criticized people when they said Paul Horace was one of the best leg lockers was I would say he's not as technical. But this right here is pretty goddamn technical. Now he switches to the opposite leg. Toquinho frees his leg, starts attacking a toe hold of his own. Gary rolls back through, back on the leg. Winning inside control with his right leg, he switches it over to like a honey hole position again. Tight bite, but Paul Horace separates his legs so he can survive this position. And then Gary comes up into a leg drag. Now, again, this was before Polaris went into a judge's scoring system. Right away from the leg drag, tries to jump into honey hole. Paul Horace has double outside ashi, trying to finish an outside heel hook. Gary feinting a pass before looking for that Estima lock. Nice arm drag right into a single leg. And this is where he just flips him right over. Now, the thing that makes this match really exciting is the fact that Tonin has the ability to cartwheel out of things. He's got one of the best Grammy rolls I've ever seen in my life. Best cartwheels. He's used in tons of his matches. Go ahead, trying to flip him over again. Back on the outside heel hook again. It's hilarious that Polaris had the refs wear those death before decision shirt, and then they went into judges' decisions. That did not age well. Paul Horace is known for his crazy collar ties, big heavy clubs. Big belly to back suplex. And Gary goes right back. Let's watch that again. Let's watch that again. Holy shit. Just fucking ragdolling him. Heavy collar tie right to the back. Big belly to back suplex. And look, he didn't spike him on his neck. He brought him on his shoulders. Totally fine. Right away, Gary has the wherewithal to go back to his butterfly half, get the posture closed, kind of regain his composure before he starts attacking. Looking for that arm drag from butterfly guard, spins through. shoots that triangle. Paul Harris picks him up. Gary's like, fuck that shit. And that is the proper response to being lifted out of a triangle. Let go of the triangle. Don't let someone end your life with a slam. Looking for that candy basami, right away to the overhook. Looking for that lockdown, right back to that butterfly half. Boom. I keep telling you guys, every time we watch a Gary Tonin match, that half guard to Ashi on the opposite leg is one of his bread and butter submissions, or at least entries. Paul Harris back on that fucking toe hold. And that's the thing, guys. If you're playing leg locks, you have to try to keep your circuit between your partner's legs. Otherwise, that triangle or that toe hold is available. Now, the nice thing about this is Gary goes between Kimura's guillotines and flying scissors from this position, but Paul Harris has another fucking idea. He's just like, all right, high crotch, flip your ass over. So let's talk about that real quick, okay? Because this is something that Paul Harris knew Gary liked to get to. He attacks from this position all the time. He'll do a technical stand up from butterfly guard with one leg still in the middle. And then he's going to look right here. Let me see if I can get it. All right, cool. Right here. Gary likes to look for an overhook on this side, so that way he can go for Uchimata's hip tosses, Victor rolls to the leg, flying scissors to the leg, and then he also has the ability, to attack the guillotine right here and the Kimura trap. And that's most of the time how he ends up on the back from this Kimura trap position here. But Paul Harris, you can see with this heavy collar tie on the right side, he's going to stand up, lift, and just flip him over. Boom. The amount of strength that you have to do that to another human being is fucking insane. I mean, granted, yeah, it's obviously a lot of steroids, but steroids are just part of what you need. It's also hard work. Paul Harris really shows his technical ability here because he's very smart about opening the circuit and trying to clear that knee line. Oh look, Shaw in the corner, Uncle Shaw and Eddie Cummings. Oh yeah, this is the card where they had Cummings versus Tanquinho. I swear to God, Paul Harris probably has the scariest body type of anybody in jiu-jitsu. He's 5'8", over 200 pounds. Ooh, right to that inside control. That's the nice thing we got to talk about a little bit here is, ooh, shit. We're going to go back and look at that scramble again. All right, let's look at this from the guard pull. Guard pull, right to inside control. So against a bigger, stronger leg walker, you have to be winning the inside control battle. If you give Paul Harris anything, he has the ability to break it. So we want to always maintain those inside controls. You don't want to just have one, you want to have both because that's where you're the most safe. And as you can see here, this is where you also lead to sweeps and transitions to the upper body. So Gary Tonin starts scrambling up and ends up in a rear body lock. Now, right away, Paul Harris is looking for this Kimura. This is fucking scary when you have this big beast on your arm, okay? Now, look how Gary starts shrimping and getting his elbow out of here, because once he frees his elbow, his arm is fairly safe. And it's about getting that elbow out. See, he got that left elbow out, and he starts to look for that back take, and they scramble back up to their feet. Again, same position. Paul Harris going to look for the same thing, the lift from this position, but he's getting a little tired. Look, Gary's looking for that Kimura trap. He goes back to guard. Shout out to Adam for giving shit to Robbie. Thought this was Robert Vidoli for a second, then realized it couldn't be because this guy knows jujitsu. Fucking Bobby biceps. Back in. Now he's in a position where he can Granby roll, right? Even if he comes up for that high crotch, he's able to Granby out of this position. See, right there. Boom. Rolls in on the legs. Looking for that outside heel hook. Good bend on the leg. Nice gripping. But look, the toes slip out. Switches to the knee bar and the inside heel hook. This is the tightest attack Gary had the whole match. And here he is again, working from that position. He has those victor rolls. He has the guillotine. He has the Kimura trap. And now he just sits back to guard against a bigger, stronger opponent. Right away to a safe position for his feet, butterfly guard, double inside control. And now he's making him think about the neck. Now, this is where we start seeing a little bit more of Gary's entire game. Last 5 minutes of the match, he starts looking for some more upper body submissions, back takes, twisters, all that fun shit. Boom. Look at that. We got to talk about that. He goes from this foot on hip position, baits the ankle lock, and jumps the triangle, right? So open guard, looking arm drags, looking head snaps. He's going to put that right foot on the hip, right? He baits it. He knows Paul Harris is like, oh, I'm going to try to go for a fucking ankle lock here, heel hooks. He's going to slip this foot out, and he's going to jump the triangle. Slips it, jumps it. Boom. It's very hard to triangle Paul Harris, obviously. But look, right away, he's attacking the arm, looking for the legs, and looking for the back. Back up to that standing base position. Here comes the Kimura trap this time, right? Victor roll. See, guys, this is exactly what I was telling about. He's got those set moves that he goes to for that from that position. It's super dangerous. And at the end of this match, we'll talk about the Gilbert Burns match because he used the same thing against him. Boom, Kimura trap. Paul Harris dumps him. Looking for that flying scissor. Now, remember, scissor, victor roll, guillotine, arm drag, Kimura. 5 very strong attacks from there. Right back. Now, again, from the overhook, he has whizzers, right? He can go for whizzer throws. Here comes the guillotine attempt. Now look, I think he transitions to the back from this position. Uses that front choke to get top position. Right to mount. And now look, feet on the inside. Let's talk about that real quick. That Hindu mount, okay? All right. When he goes to mount, he is very aware of the kipping mount escape because he had fucking Uncle Shy hit that on him so many times. This is the best position to mount a leg locker when you're competing against them because you're winning the inside control. It's very difficult for them to buck you off and go to a single leg X Ashi position. From here, you have your own entries into honey hole, Ashi, whatever you want, or you can grind them out and start working for your upper body submissions before you transition to the upper body. Again, you don't want to have your hips on top of their hips with your legs wrapped around them because they can attack your legs. The only time I'll transition to a traditional mount is when I move to the upper body. So if I'm in like an S mount or I'm up beneath their armpits. Slides up. And he's smart about this. He knows he doesn't want to end up in that position. Right away, overhook position, looking for those guillotines. Bam, flips him over again. I might be crazy, but I swear that Gary had a twister attempt on Paul Harris in this match too. Very tight head and arm position. Use this to elevate or isolate the arm. Yeah, here comes that twister attempt. So he's on the back. Paul Harris is very hard to control with both hooks. Looking for that cross grip. Man, look how fucking thick Paul Harris is. It's very difficult to control Paul Harris. And we saw Gordon Ryan have a hard time submitting Paul Harris from this position. So he goes to that twister hook, right? He's got that twister hook. He's going to start isolating that arm. Yep. Boom. Looking for that crotch ripper first. He's got that. Look at that entanglement. That's very, very tight and very hard for your opponent to attack your legs. So now he's in that crotch ripper, looking for the twister now. Decides to switch back to a better back control position with a good harness and slides to the arm. Let's look at that scramble one last time, just because it's very tight. All right, so goes back and forth between the crotch ripper and the thought of the twister. Then he transitions back to the back and switches to an armbar. Boom. Slides up, got that cross grip, and starts looking for the armbar. Paul Harris is too strong, too slippery, but great attempt. The back of Paul Harris is not the easiest place to finish. We saw Gordon Ryan recently have a match with him at the Jiu-Jitsu World Festival or whatever it was. And he was on his back for like 10, 11 minutes and couldn't finish him. He's just all neck. I mean, no neck, all traps. Ooh, jumping triangle attempt. Right back to that guillotine attempt. On the arm instead. Back on the leg. Ankle lock position. Whew. His fucking crowd was probably one of the best crowds in jiu-jitsu history. And you know what it is? It's fucking Gary Tonin. I mean, yes, you and we'll talk about this in between the Gilbert Burns when I get the Burns match set up. And it goes to a draw. Fucking big love between both these guys. This was one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. I remember watching this live and just freaking out. So let's talk about this real quick, okay? Sorry, one sec. I was doing something in one of my other tabs. When we're talking about big jiu-jitsu matches, Tom Scully saying it was his favorite matches. Yeah, dude, that's one of the greatest matches of all times. Um, when you're talking about jiu-jitsu matches, Gary Tonin is one of the highest selling athletes. Okay, but even him, he needs someone to compete against that people find interesting. And the nice thing about Gary Tonin is he's always open to these freak show matches. Uh, whether it's up weight classes, down weight classes, Gary does whatever. You know, and it's always been very interesting to me that kind of freak show dynamic when it comes to jujitsu. You just need to find the right athletes for it. Uh, that crowd there, honestly, you can hear it on the audio. Go back and listen to the audio. It's one of the loudest crowds I've heard. They realized they were watching history right there, you know? And that's what happens. I mean, it was a great card in general. You had Eddie Cummings versus Tanquino, Gary versus Paul Harris. You had AJ Agazarm versus Jake Shields. Just a lot of really good competitors. But it was in the UK, which was a developing market at the time, which I find really interesting. So, one second, type this in. When we're thinking about matches to make in the future, we need to start identifying the next Gary Tonins of the world because Gary says it himself. He's pretty broken right now. He's still fighting MMA. That's his main concern because I mean, obviously that's where the money is. He wants to be a world champion and all that fun stuff. But we need to find the next stars, okay? And especially now with all this corona bullshit going on, this is where we kind of have time to think about it, think about matches we want to see in the future, and think about what we want to do in the future. Alex, no problem, man. Every weekday, I do this in the mornings. Uh, but yeah, that's just my kind of opinion. All right, so I mentioned multiple times that Gary likes to do that standing base, bait the single leg, and he attacks Kimura's guillotines, Victor rolls, all that stuff in that position. So let's go to Polaris 4, Gary versus Gilbert Burns, and watch how Gary Victor rolls multiple times and then takes eventually an inside heel hook. We might not do this full match. Maybe we will, just because he does it multiple times. This one's not nearly as long as the Paul Harris match, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this up right now. And this is what happens when you study tape. You know, you start thinking about other matches where things happen that are similar, and you start connecting the things in your brain, and that's really what it's all about. So Gilbert Burns missed weight for this one. He was fighting at 155, and he weighed in like 188 or something. And I've talked about this before. The thing that makes Gary so dangerous is he doesn't care what position he's in. He's going to be attacking from all of them. So you're going to see the foreshadowing of him using this position multiple times. He's going to let Gilbert Burns wear himself out a little bit, and then he looks for that inside control to bait the single leg. Right here, right away. He starts looking for the Victor roll. Gilbert follows him that time with a tight body lock. We're like a minute in the match, and that happens. Right away, back to it. Guillotines, wrestling, wizard throws, all of it, all from that position. And I'm telling you, the end of this match comes exactly from this position. He rolls through for a Victor roll, changes it into a honey hole entry, and finishes. Gary has a really nice high crotch and single leg setup. Gilbert has great double legs. Gary's a much more accomplished wrestler, but Gilbert's got some great wrestling himself, especially when Gary doesn't give a shit about giving up the takedown. Again, Gilbert missed weight by I think like 15 pounds for this match. Shot, rolls to the leg. That's the great thing about Gary is his ability to transition from the takedowns into the submissions. Oh look, a young Gordon Ryan in the background. Nice double legs. See, I told you, really good double legs. And Gary's just like, fuck it, why bother? Take your takedown. Now that is the best counter I've seen anyone use on Gary Tonon's favorite position there, where he baits the single leg, pick up the leg and foot sweep. Right back up to it. Good takedown. And in these longer matches, you see the best competitors start to use the same position multiple times and see their opponent's reaction so that way they can counter. This time he gets that collar tie and shoots himself underneath. Now he's looking for that wizard. And now, he likes shooting these triangles as well. Keeps his opponents honest. And this is one of the few times you see Gary playing close guard in a match. Nice shot. Gary trying to keep his head lower than Dorino's. Here comes the overhook, shooting the triangle. See, another reaction off of that. He shoots it again. And now, this is what makes Dorino think he's going to go upper body. And then he ends up in a Victor roll. That was a sick flip over by Dorino there. I think this is the first match or first event Polaris went to their judge's decision rule set. Looking for that flying scissor again. And I think this is why Gary's style is always better against bigger people is his movement, his cardio, and his ability to just scramble. It makes the bigger guys tire out and it makes them become a little sloppier, and he tends to submit them towards the end of the match. Then he just doesn't give a shit where he is. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna fucking attack you from anywhere. Shot right into a leg entry, tight outside heel hook. Dorino defends this well, gets his knee line out, and then right back, already attacking the neck off that single leg. Now look, the last few attempts from that forced single position, he hasn't gone for the leg. He's gone for the upper body. I think that plays a big factor in him getting this submission at the end. Boom, here it comes. Shoots in on the opposite leg this time. Tight knee bar attempt. And Dorino gets out. The next one, instead of going for the cross leg, he goes for the near leg. Underhooking. Underhooking instead of overhooking this time. Okay. Elevates through. He looks for that cross leg. Dorino seems to be pretty good at defending the outside heel hook here. So watch how Gary adapts. He starts looking for that inside position. Doesn't have the knee line. Gary toning on top this time. Dorino looking for a heel hook of his own. Gary kind of smiling. Gary has a very good ability to rotate out of toe holds. Right into the front headlock. Again, look, he's baiting him. He's going for that cross-side leg over and over. He starts setting up a pattern and a pattern of reactions. Rolls through. That was a nice back take by Dorino. Shoulders to the mat. He's out. Right away, pushing the head. Back to his position. Overhook. Now look, this time he goes for the near side leg, not the far side. Burns overcompensates. Rolls through. Tight. Inside Senkaku. Cross grip. Inside heel hook. All right, so let's look at that again, okay? The importance is Dorino's leg positioning. All right. He knows this cross side leg is the one he normally goes for, so he keeps it back and gives him the near side leg. All right. When this happens, Gary's going to roll through for a victor roll, but he's unable to get fully underneath Dorino. Okay. So he changes it to that Craig Jones style knee drop behind the leg. Okay. So he rolls. Look, Dorino sprawls. So he's unable to go to the knee bar position. So that knee comes up, he drops it right behind the knee, closes his triangle, and looks for the inside heel hook. He rolls the wrong way, gets the bite, and forces the roll. Let's look at it one more time, full speed. Overhook. Near side leg. Victor roll, back through, rolls underneath to get the bite, and then finishes in the pin. Great win for Gary Tonin. All right. So that shows us why at the highest level, setting patterns and setting traps is really important. He was going through in the beginning to that cross side leg. Then he moved to the upper body, triangle attempts, guillotine attempts, takedown attempts. Then he went back to that cross side leg. All this is data that Gary is collecting for pattern reactions. Okay. When he gets the reaction, he knows that near side leg is now open. Or maybe he's just like, fuck it. The outside leg hasn't been working. The upper body hasn't been working. Let's move down the Rolodex to the next position, the near side leg. So he Victor rolls through. Instead of ending up in the knee bar, he ends up in a knee drop and goes to the honey hole, inverts, and finishes the inside heel hook. I'm telling you, if you want to get really good, go watch Gary Tonin matches because he does not care what position he's in. He's constantly scrambling. He's constantly chain wrestling. He's chain wrestling into submissions, and he has you can see it too in his matches if you really pay attention. He has a deep knowledge of the positions and what attacks he has off of them. So he's not just going for the same attack. He's setting these traps, and then he knows, okay, well, I have these options off of this as well. So my advice, go study Gary Tonin from that forced single leg position. Study his uchimatas, his flying scissors, his rolling knee bars, which is also a Victor roll, the Kimura traps, the guillotine attempts, and how he transitions to the back off of this as well. All right. I'm going to be done for now. I'm going to be back in like 20 minutes with Ryan McGuire from Third Coast Grappling. We're going to do an interview, and I'm going to go make some more coffee. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you guys in like 20 minutes.